Good morning, and we're getting ready to head out for our second ride on the Elroy Sparta Trail. We're going to head to the east, like I said last night, and we're going to go to Elroy, go through Tunnel 1. A little chilly last night, but it's warming up nicely today, and then we're going to head up the Omaha Trail up to Camp Douglas is our plan. So probably about 43 miles total today, so we'll see you on the trail. We started our ride from the Tunnel Trail Campground, a nice place to camp, scenic, and the benefit, it's right on the trail itself, so right on the Elroy Sparta Trail, probably about 8 miles to the west of Elroy. And so we headed to the east towards Elroy and through Tunnel 1 eventually here on the trail. There's 3 tunnels on the Elroy Sparta Trail, and we have been through the other 2. This is the first time we've been through Tunnel 1. The campsite's a nice area. Looking over to the north of the campsite, that's where the coyotes were howling all night in the fields there. Approaching Tunnel 1 here with the cut in the rock. It's an uphill climb from the campground to the tunnel itself. The trail is crushed rock, as is typical of most Wisconsin trails. Getting here to the entrance of the trail, we'll need to stop and put our headlamps on to get ready to go through the trail, the tunnel on the trail. The paths through all the tunnels on the Elroy Sparta are all sort of rock and mud, usually pretty wet and slippery, so they advise walking your bikes. I believe it's actually required. This was an interesting tunnel, a lot of just pure rock. You can see in the headlamps there. Getting close to the exit of the tunnel. It wasn't a terribly long tunnel, maybe a quarter mile at most. The longest one on the trail is almost a mile long. That's Tunnel 3. Getting out of the tunnel, removing our headlamps and getting ready to ride again. You can see what I think is a watering station for the train. All set and ready to go again. We're riding. You can tell it's kind of a cool morning, as I said in the opening. Have our jackets on, our ear bands, our gloves. I think it was down to high 30s overnight. Coming into the town of Kendall here. Nice little Wisconsin town with a depot and a parking lot for the trail. We're rolling in here to the old depot station building in Kendall. You see, I got my ear band on and my jacket. Probably could be getting rid of that pretty soon. The Elroy Sparta Trail is considered the first rail-to-trail in the United States. And Kendall itself was a nice little town. Some shopping, and there were some bars and restaurants there too that you could probably get a bite. The trail is actually officially closed from Kendall to Elroy. We had good information from the owner of the campground and a gentleman we met walking on the trail at this point. You're actually supposed to ride the road there, and it's a pretty busy road. And everybody told us, well, we can't tell you, but most people do ride it. You'll see it's just about a bridge that was compromised. It's not out. It's actually, you can get across it. And here, again, just outside of Kendall, the nice barns, pastures, wetlands. You can see the trail officially closed, but you can also see a lot of bike tires going around the closed there. So we felt pretty confident that we would be able to make it. There's Julie at the officially closed bridge. So she's waiting, and I'll come up and walked across the bridge and kind of take a look, and things looked pretty good, so I just lifted the bikes over, rolled them across and back, and then we got back on our bikes and continued riding. So that was the only thing. I guess the floods had undercut the bridge on both sides. Nice farmlands. Entering Elroy here on the outskirts, the home of Tommy Thompson, a longtime governor of the state of Wisconsin. Rolling into the trailhead here, you can see again they got the trail closed, although I'm not sure why they have it closed so long when the actual bridge area is not that big part of it. We got down into Elroy and the trail was torn up and the road was torn up, so we couldn't get to the depot, so we decided to just take the main road up through town up to where the Omaha Trail starts. It's a little confusing. I think it probably actually starts at the depot, but here's the official sign, 13 miles to Camp Douglas. You can tell it's a paved trail, asphalt, sort of differing conditions. A lot of it was on this side of the tunnel was very broken up and rough, disintegrated into dirt in a couple places. What amazes me about Wisconsin, here's the trail becoming just a dirt trail at this point, not even paved. But what Wisconsin tries to charge people, or does charge people, $5 a day or $30 a year to ride these trails, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of maintenance going on the trails. I have no problem with paying for it, but I would like to see them maintaining the trails to some extent. Coming up the hill, the valley, into the tunnel, the one and only tunnel on the Omaha. For some reason I thought there was a couple. Here's the Tunnel Hill Road that you cross multiple times going up towards the tunnel, and this is the last little stretch. I guess a lot of people must park there and try to maybe ride their ATVs or something up. And here's the tunnel itself. A little selfie of us ready to go through. Turned out the tunnel was pretty short. We did put on our headlamps to go through it, and we just rode through because the path through the tunnel is asphalt and pretty well cleared off and easy to ride. So we just decided instead of walking, we'd ride our bikes. Coming out on the other side, you start heading back downhill, and then you hit this little rest area not too far past the tunnel. And you can see the trail on this side seems to be a much better trail. We ate lunch there, a little snack, not even lunch. Turned around, talked to that gentleman, and then turned around and headed back through the tunnel and back down towards Elroy. Again, crossing the Tunnel Hill Road. I suppose you could actually ride on that road because it just keeps intersecting the trail. Didn't seem to be much traffic on the road either, so it would probably be a pleasant ride also. We stuck to the bike trail. Some flowers on the different meadows. I decided to take a picture on the way back of this scenic barn. When we got to Elroy, we decided just to go to Nelson's IGA and pick up some fried chicken, some cheese curds, and I think some chocolate chip cookies to have for sort of a late lunch before we headed all the way back to the campground. We decided to take a road that sort of bypasses Elroy from where the supermarket was, cut off maybe a mile or so. It was a pretty good bypass. You'll see it on the bike route with Ride with GPS. Back through the wetlands area. I guess my GoPro picked up a little smudge on the left there. We're back to the bridge that's out. Julie waiting for me to come back and pick up her bike and carry it across for her. And of course, not sticking around to wait for me to take pictures. Julie just took off down the trail. A little further down the trail, I ran into some blue herons on the trail and scared them off. monarch butterfly, enjoying some of the wildflowers. In Kendall again, we ran into some Amishmen that were working on tearing apart an old building and putting it back together, and that was their cart. Did not see their horse anywhere though. Coming up towards the tunnel again, you're heading uphill. It's a very scenic ride. Nice views. I saw this barn on the way out and was hoping that it would be clear and have the afternoon sun, which I lucked out and I did. Here we are just approaching the tunnel itself, meaning that we were probably within about a mile of the campground. We did run into a couple other bikers coming the other way through the tunnel, so people are out enjoying the trail and the tunnels. Throw our headlamps on again and walk on through. You see the sides of the tunnel of the rock and probably minerals that are formed over it from the water. Makes for some pretty eerie looking photos. Once through the tunnel, get back on our bikes and it's downhill all the way to the campground. There's the Tunnel Trail Campground as we roll in. A little over 35 miles. By stopping right after the tunnel, we probably cut off about 13 or so miles. It would have been close to a 50-mile ride had we gone the whole way to Camp Douglas, and we decided to forego that, knowing we had 2 more days of riding. This was a nice campground. It was pretty uncrowded during the week. We're here in September, so that's not a real crowded time. But come Friday night, we headed home on Saturday, so Friday night got pretty crowded and pretty robust. Finished up the ride for the day from the Tunnel Campground here to Elroy, and then from Elroy we hit up with the Omaha State Trail and went about 6 miles on that through the tunnel, and then decided to turn around and head back. 35 miles total. Good day, 2 tunnels. Tunnel number 1 on the Elroy Sparta Trail, and I think the one and only trail tunnel on the Omaha. But good day, fun, and very scenic. Bye. As you can tell, 35.5 miles is what we did. You can see a little bypass there by Elroy that we took, so you didn't have to go back through town, maybe cut off a few miles. Well, thank you for watching it, and like it if you liked it, and subscribe to our channel to see more biking and hiking and other videos.